As the FIA looks set to grant Andretti Global's entry into the high rollers table of Formula One, wheels are already turning behind the scenes, with the aim of turning the world-famous name into a genuine contender at the right end of the grid. And with a name like Cadillac involved as part constructor, both the big bucks and big names are flowing in the push to live up to their namesake, who of course is a champion in F1 and IndyCar, with wins in NASCAR and sports cars to their name as well. So what's the big deal? And just how fast can F1's newest team be? The newly rebranded Andretti Global already operates winning organizations across motorsport, having earned 6 Indy 500 victories, as well as championship-winning teams in Formula E and Global and American Rallycross. Clearly, Andretti possess both the desire to win and the engineering staff who make that possible wherever they go. But Formula One is a different beast, so Andretti will need to make sure they bring in the right people who know the sport. Having a former world champion as your figurehead is a good start, but beneath them, the structure needs to be rock solid. So let's consider who's going to fill what role. First off, team principal, the face of most teams, and very often the guiding hand behind every decision in the garage. The list of former team principals who are currently out of work includes former Ferrari boss Mattia Binotto, the popular but ultimately less effective Jost Capito, and former head honcho of Alpine, Otmar Safnauer. Out of these three, either Binotto or Safnauer would seem the obvious choice. Binotto's Italian methods would mesh well with Andretti's Italian-American styles and sensibilities, but Otmar's tricky nature might appeal to a bolder, success-driven approach. But those surely aren't the only candidates Andretti will be considering. There is a significant number of personnel across Andretti's current ventures who seem more than capable of distinguishing themselves. Title-winning principal over in Formula E, Roger Griffiths, will surely have one eye on the role, having already achieved success in the newer series, and team managers in IndyCar, Josh Freund and Ziggy Harkus, will surely believe their success in the USA will earn them a shot at the big job. Andretti are very much in a position to throw money at any problem that might arise in the garage, but all that is nothing if they don't have the right people behind the wheel. So who are the likely candidates to fill the hot seats? The obvious first two candidates would be making the switch from Andretti's IndyCar team. The highly regarded Colton Herta has been making F1-like noises for a few years now. And despite missing out on a seat at AlphaTauri after the FIA refused to grant them a super license, having Andretti's backing might be able to sway that. And with an F1 test with McLaren already under their belt, surely it's only a matter of time. But Herta's teammate in IndyCar is someone who might just have unfinished business in F1. Frenchman Robin Grosjean is a well-known name in the paddock, and not just for their death-defying crash a few years back. Grosjean is a driver with a lot of pace, with 179 starts in Formula One and 10 podiums, very often in subpar machinery. A solid stint with Lotus Renault driving alongside Kimi Räikkönen was followed by a dramatic few years behind the wheel of a Haas, and Grosjean never got the chance to drive a truly competitive car. But there are surely plenty of other hands clamouring for that chance in the big time. Many incredibly talented F1 team juniors are still without a drive, and Andretti might prove a good lure for some of these drivers who don't feel like they can wait for their shot. Brazilian Felipe Drugovich will have to feel hard done by to not have an F1 seat by now. They're stuck behind a former world champion who ages like wine, and the nepo baby son of the team owner for a drive at their contracted team of Aston Martin. They clearly have talent, but are without anywhere to show it off. And Mick Schumacher, 2020 Formula 2 champion, would represent good value for PR and future potential following their drive at Haas, were Andretti in the market for that sort of impact with the fans. However, they'll face stiff competition from Andretti's venture partners Cadillac, who bring alongside their constructors partnership a host of successful drivers from the World Endurance Championship. One thing is for certain, when Andretti's cars line themselves up on the grid for their first race, there will be an almighty scrap over who gets to sit in the driver's seat. But what good is that without a car that's up to scratch? Can Andretti put a machine beneath their drivers that is capable of fulfilling their lofty ambitions? Their facilities in the United States will certainly be state-of-the-art, with a currently under construction factory in Fishers, Indiana, likely to be one of the most advanced and modern of its kind, comparable to Aston Martin's redeveloped facilities that has produced one of F1's most improved cars this year. And the entry to the sport in 2025 or 26 will come amidst a heap of technical overhauls that might shake up the grid beyond any recognition we've seen in the modern era. Most notably are the new engine regulations, which have outraged Red Bull & Co. despite their upcoming partnership with the powerhouse of powertrains, Ford Motor Company. Getting into more detail, the removal of the MGU-H, which stands for Motor Generator Unit for Heat, will be a change aimed at aiding new engine suppliers to F1. While this change might also benefit Audi and Honda, who will both return as engine suppliers in 2026, Andretti have confirmed that they're going with an Alpine Renault power unit. And despite Alpine's engine being notably underpowered in 2023, CEO Bruno Famin has claimed that Andretti becoming the third team on the grid with a Renault engine will only create stronger performance benefits due to the increased testing and track time creating larger wealths of data with which to develop a winning powertrain. So that's going in a straight line sorted. But what about going around the corners? Who might Andretti have concocting the aerodynamics and other systems responsible for that oh so important element? Rumours abound at the moment, but we can make two very well-informed guesses. The first is for the role of technical director, where former Renault and Lotus technical director Nick Chester is thought to be currently in the role out of Andretti's facility in Banbury, at least according to their LinkedIn page, where they haven't disclosed their new secretive employer. And additionally, we believe that the role of head aerodynamicist has been filled by John Tomlinson, who previously held the role for 5 years at Williams, who has also updated their professional profile to display a secret role for a secret employer that just happens to also be in Banbury. These are top people Andretti are bringing in, and with hundreds of Grand Prix between them, surely it's only a matter of time before we see a tidal wave of top-tier employees settling into new offices in Banbury. These revelations are bolstered by the latest comments from General Motors Executive Director of Competition, Dr. Eric Warren, who has revealed that GM are playing a much larger role in both resources and development when it comes to Andretti's 2025 F1 car, taking place both out of their technical center in Charlotte, North Carolina, where they have facilities dedicated to engineering and simulator support for F1, and assisting Andretti in chassis, combustion, and aerodynamics from their equally expensive facilities in Warren, Michigan. So instead of another mid-weight brand powerhouse like Renault or Aston Martin, who can throw big claims and bigger budgets around without tremendous success, we might be looking at a different truth. Andretti Global might be a steamrolling juggernaut coming to take F1 by storm. And should the current team bosses finally capitulate to Mohammed bin Sulayem and greenlight the expansion of the grid to 11 or more teams, we could be looking at a period of American dominance like the grid has never seen before. What kind of results do you think Andretti will be aiming for? And where do you think they'll finish in their first season in F1? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed that video, remember to hit like and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest news in the world of motorsport. And if you want to support the channel and have your say in what content I cover next, please consider donating at the link down below. But as always, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, stay safe out on the road, and I'll see you next time.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes it. Lewis Hamilton, champion of the world.
Ewan Kankin, 4 times title holder.